I mentioned in the video which I recorded yesterday about a problem I was having with some blocked pipes. My sinks aren't draining. It was a coincidence because in the evening I was watching a BBC drama about a ghost that lived in a house, and this house there was trouble with the pipes. There was a blockage and the landlord was trying to fix the pipes, and his girlfriend was saying he should really get somebody in to fix them. And it turned out that the house was protesting against the violent action that the landlord had committed in the past against his girlfriend who'd become the resident ghost. It was quite a coincidence after me mentioning it and me having this trouble with my pipes and wondering if there's a message here, a deeper message, rather than just the fact that there's stuff blocked in the pipes. Well, the only message I can get from this is that I'm going to have to bite the bullet and call somebody in to sort it out, because I can't get anywhere with it. It's funny though how, and this doesn't really follow on, I'm just indulging myself here, but it is funny how Hollywood, or not just Hollywood, but it's funny how television and movies actually assume the teaching of the Yoga Vasistha, and we don't seem to have a problem assuming it. We don't seem to have a problem assuming the same thing when we're watching something on the television or a movie. In the movies, we often don't know whether this is a dream that the character is having or whether it's real. And the main character might find themselves in a totally different scenario. They might find themselves behaving like a Spanish swashbuckler on a pirate ship or something, for some reason dictated to by the plot device. In movies and on television, the dream doesn't have a different quality to the ordinary reality. It used to be they'd have a slight shimmering effect when you had a flashback or a dream scene, but now it's just portrayed as ordinary reality. And the distinction between the dream and the reality is very fine indeed, to the point that there isn't any distinction. And this is the teaching of the Yoga Vasistha, that the mechanism of the dream is the same mechanism that gives us our waking reality. So if we bear that in mind, it helps to make sense of what comes next, because we're in for some wild stuff. We're approaching the end of the cosmic dissolution of the universe which exists within a rock. Vasistha continued. There was no space. Finally space goes after all the other elements. There were no directions. There was neither below nor above. There were neither elements nor a creation. There was but one limitless ocean. An ocean of what, one might ask? I doubt whether it was an ocean of water. Meanwhile, I saw Brahmaloka as the sun beholds the earth at sunrise. Brahmaloka is the abode of Brahma. There Brahma the Creator was seated in samadhi, or meditation, as if he were an unshakable mountain, surrounded by the pradhana, or the first principles, the gods and the sages, the celestials and the siddhas. These are the primordial forces, or fundamental vibrations, if you like, who were also seated in the meditation posture, deeply engrossed in meditation, as if they were without life. The 12 suns also arrived there and entered into meditation. The 12 suns are solar deities, born of space and they perform the final obliteration. After a brief period, I saw Brahma and the others as one sees one's dream objects on waking up. I saw them as so many manifestations of mental conditioning, not as the materialization of the dream objects. I then realized that all these gods, etc., were also pure void. They're void in the same way that a dream is void. Without leaving that place, they had vanished from sight. I realized that they too had attained Nirvana after having abandoned name and form, like Brahma the Creator. Brahma the Creator has a name and form. When the vasana or self-limiting conditioning had ceased in them, they had become invisible. We need to be careful about this. It's not as if they're just popping out of sight. It's like a mirage. At first you believe the mirage, and then when you realize it's a mirage, its force, its power disappears. Its reality disappears, but the mirage is still visible. So we need to be careful, because I think there was a tendency to believe at one time that if you're properly enlightened you would disappear, or the world would disappear. It's a bit subtler than that. This body is but pure void, and we can understand void as a dreamlike creation. It seems to exist on account of the vasana or mental conditioning. When the latter ceases, the body ceases to be seen or experienced, just as the dream object is not experienced on waking up. So in a sense it does disappear. Even so, neither the subtle body, the ativahika, nor the gross body, the adhibautika, is seen even in the waking state when the mental conditioning ceases. You just don't relate to it as such. The example of the dream state is given here because that is something everybody experiences. He who rejects his own experience is fit to be shunned from a great distance. Who can wake up a man who pretends to sleep? He pretends to sleep in the name of being awake. The dream phenomenon has huge implications for our understanding of what is real, and it's something which should be given a great deal of consideration. I don't mean the content of the dreams, but the actual fact of the dreams. And most people don't like to think about it. They don't want to think about the implications of these things and maintain a rather blinkered view of things. They want to keep their beliefs, their notions, and carry on automatic, sleepwalking.